Yeah.
I have 2 Dobermans. So,
Ooh.
yeah, big doggies. But yeah, I always have some foster animals.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Hi guys, this is Kyle Buksakan, and we're in my kitchen right now.
And I'm Mark Bonin. Both Kyle and I are with the O'Connor and Highland team. Tonight, there is no O'Connor, there is no Highland. Sorry, John and Jason. Tonight, it is our turn to shine. And so we would like to present Tanqueray on Tatooine. It's a virtual cocktail event, as you know. We're celebrating May the 4th for you Star Wars fans. And so we're going to mix a couple of cocktails and we're going to have some fun. And before we start, we want to make sure you have your bag that we delivered so that you're all ready to go when our mixologist starts. And finally, this is not possible, whoops, I almost broke something, without our sponsor, Andrea Dolce from Radius Financial. Andrea has helped many of our clients, including a few who I know are out there right now, with financing to get their homes. And she and her team are knowledgeable, great customer service, and highly recommended. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Andrea Dolce.
Thanks, guys. Andrea Dolce, Radius Financial Group. So I just wanted to introduce myself, say thank you to these guys for having me today. We're excited to do this event and enjoy.
Yeah, and now I want to invite Bobby Brown from our team, who's a former mixologist, to start getting the cocktails ready. Bobby, why don't you join us?
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Oh, let me lose this quickly. Hey, everybody. How are you? My name is Bobby Brown with the O'Connor and Highland team. I'm really excited to be here today, with our team, with Andrea, and, really just put together a couple of really nice cocktails. These are inspired from some classical recipes, some of which, I'm sure you've heard of in the past, which we'll dive into. We've put a little bit of a O'Connor and Highland twist on them, though, just to make it fun, exciting, and really fit the season in the warm weather that, we're looking forward to.
Sorry, Bob, I have to interrupt with a terrible stage note. You know that none of these things go according to plan. I wanted to hit the record button, and now our host will hit the record button so that we can have this for posterity.
All right. Perfect. So now that we're recording, we're going to make sure to capture, the important stuff, which is the recipes and how to build them. I quickly just want to kind of go over what we're going to be building today. So the first drink that we're going to put together here, it's called the Drink Me You Will. This is based off of a classic Negroni recipe, which is equal parts cocktail. It has some wonderful flavors in it, a ton of depth, a lot of botanicals, a lot of, it's just going to hit a lot of different areas of your mouth, which is, why I thought this was going to be a great cocktail to go over today. It's super easy to make, but, without any further ado, I think that we should just jump right into, the first recipe here. So I just want to introduce the ingredients for you. We're first going to be using a London Dry Tanqueray gin. This is going to have, a lot of classic, just kind of, herbal and piney flavors. A lot of people kind of hear gin and they get a little nervous because they think it's going to be strong or they're not going to like it. When you mix it with other, like ingredients that are going to support the flavors, it just has a ton of depth and character that I think you all are going to, realize why it's such a versatile liquor tonight. Second ingredient, equal part of sweet vermouth. We have placed this in a nice little bottle here for you. This is the sweetener element of this cocktail. So in every cocktail, you got to make sure it's well balanced. You're going to have, your liquor, you're going to have your sweetening element, and then you're going to have your citrus element. In this liquor here, the sweet vermouth acts as the sweetener, which is going to really just make sure we're drinking a well-balanced cocktail. Last ingredient here is going to be the Campari. Now, this is actually a bitter liqueur. I don't know, oftentimes people are somewhat familiar with bitters, like, immediately mine goes towards Angostura bitters. It's the classic bitter cocktail, usually just a dash or two in a cocktail, just gives it a bunch of depth and, can really just bring a mediocre cocktail to the next level. This right here, Campari, it's a main element of this drink. So this drink is going to have an amazing, somewhat bitter mouthfeel. It's almost like that dry mouthfeel. And you will totally, understand what I'm talking about once we put this together. And then lastly, the citrus element is literally just a garnish in this case. But I think once we put, the swath and we really use the orange citrus oils off of the peel, it creates a ton of sensation in your nose first, which changes your entire feel of the drink. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and, start putting this one together. I do have a wonderful mixing glass here.
Did you have broke? Can I jump in for 1 second?
Please,
Bobby?
please,
I
yeah.
apologize. Is there something we talked about the deceiving size when we go to measurements?
This is an excellent point, Mark. Okay, so in this drink here, typically we're going to be using proportions all equal, 1 ounce, 1 ounce, 1 ounce. Just for you viewing at home, playing along here, these bottles are approximately 1 ounce. So when we're making this, feel free to go ahead and just dump that right in. If you do have a jigger where you can, measure accurately, this is always going to improve the quality of the cocktail with the right measurements. It's, that's really what you want to be doing. I know we're kind of just free, winging it here. So a couple of these bottles, these are going to be equal parts. The Tanqueray is what you want to be careful with. This has about 1.75 ounces. So I wouldn't just dump that whole thing in. If you don't have a measuring cup, aim for slightly above half and you should be good on that. And I will be using a jigger, but I'll show you how much I have remaining just so you really know not to be over pouring it, because this could be a short night if we all are dumping the whole thing in there. All right, so typically when you're building a cocktail, you're going to want some sort of a mixing glass, you're going to want your drinking glass, and you're going to need a shaker for a drink that needs to be shaken. So in this case, I'm going to be using the mixing glass. I'm going to grab for you our low ball cocktail glass with our Death Star ice cube, which is all included in your bag. Thank you, Mark.
Also, Bobby, if you let them know that actually in the shaker, when we packed it, the ingredient, the cherry for the next drink is at the top of it. So be careful.
Right in the shaker?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to kind of show you how I would really be serving a guest. I'm going to pretend like you're my guest and I'm your bartender here. So, typically I would pull my glass out of my, chilled fridge or freezer, because you want a chilled glass. It's going to keep the drink nice and cool for longer, which means you're going to be able to enjoy this much longer. I'm going to then take my ice cube. I'm going to place it in the glass and I'm going to put this right in front of you. You know what that creates there? It's just anticipation. Somebody's going to be, they're looking at a Death Star in a nice chilled out glass. It's going to add to the experience now of you looking forward to the drink. When it's actually fully made, it's going to even taste better because you're looking forward to it. So that's kind of, when you're building drinks for somebody, I think it's important to make sure that you're doing it in the correct order and you're making it a little bit of a show, because you know what? That's why we're going to the bar. It's not just to drink. It's also to be entertained and to interact with our environment. So you want to go ahead and place the drink right there in front of you. And then I'm going to work on, my build. And while I build this, I would actually love to field any questions you guys might have about the, the drinks, or feel free to throw them in the chat box. Pretty sure Sonia can read those off, or we'll figure out a way to get those answered.
Where were you bartending?
Yeah, so I bartended around the city a little bit. I've worked at a few different establishments. Most noteworthy, I'd say recently, I was at Luca, which is on Hanover Street in the North End. It's a wonderful Italian style restaurant, really specialized in wine and nice cocktails, had some amazing entrees. I'd recommend you go there. There's still some fabulous bartenders there who will love to make you something special. One of the best espresso martinis in the city too, I will say that. So here, I'm just gonna put my ice in my mixing glass. There we go. All right.
Hey, Bobby, we have a question. What if you want to make it less sweet?
Less sweet in the Negroni cocktail. I will go through this drink being the sweetener agent, being a sweet vermouth. That would be the thing that you could maybe, pour less of that into the drink. I would caution perhaps against that because of the strength of, gin and also Campari together without having the balancer, which is the sweet vermouth. It could get a little bit, floral, a little bitter, and it would start to sway in that direction. So for this drink in particular, I do think the sweetener agent of sweet vermouth is like a crucial ingredient. But if you do want to ease back on that, it's not going to be sweet in the end. That would be the ingredient you could perhaps put a little less of.
But I'm drinking it right now and it's not super sweet.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's,
The finished cocktail isn't a sweet one. Yeah, most of the time, like anybody who's looking for a sweet drink probably isn't going to be ordering, a Negroni style or a drink me you will, O'Connor and Highland style. Cool. So let's just, start building here. I'll show you, this is called a jigger here. Really can be handy and helpful when you're creating, drinks, especially when you're trying to, play with the ingredients and like that question right there, you want to play with a little less sweetener, a little more. You can make 3 of them, compare, and that's usually going to do you pretty well. So I'm just going to put an ounce of this right in here. Dump that right in my mixing glass. Then I'm going to go for the sweet vermouth. I'm going to go ahead and just put another ounce right in this glass. You see, this one goes right to the top. I will show you with the Tanqueray. I'm looking at about half is still left in there. So that's, if you don't have a measure, that's what you should be, aiming for, about half of the Tanqueray. And then lastly, the Campari. This is an ingredient not a ton of people are super familiar with. It has a real bitterness to it. By itself, it's, it's going to make you smack your lips, just kind of like take over your mouth. So, it's definitely an essential ingredient, balancing the cocktail in that direction, but it works well with everything else in the drink, which is, why we include it. All right. So we got the 3 in there at this point. And honest to God, as you're sitting there, as a patron at my bar and, we're talking, we're enjoying, we're talking about the ingredients. I'm sitting, just stirring. This is a drink that you want to, use a lot of ice, and you want to stir for a long period of time. The ice in this drink, stirring like this, it actually dilutes the drink, which, because this is only liquor in here, you need a little bit of dilution to kind of make it a little more palatable. As you bring the temperature up, the more you stir, the more water is released into the drink. The temperature is actually being lowered, to meet the ice, obviously. So I might stir this for a minute, honestly. And I would start to ask you about yourself. Where are you from? What brought you into town? There we go. So that's going to give us a nice little dilution right there. This now went from room temperature, lowered down to almost freezing. Your glass has now had the opportunity to sit here with the ice cube in there, lower that temperature. You're now looking at a nice cold glass. And what can I get here? So I am, what I don't have a strain. You know what, it's fine. All right. So I'm just gonna go right from this into your, right into your glass. I'm using the spoon to just filter out the ice cubes because we want to make sure we're just laying this over your beautiful Death Star right in there. There we go. That looks like a perfect measurement to me. And then lastly, this is a really important part of this drink that you might not think because it's not, you know, an ingredient that you're putting in the drink, but I'm telling you right now, I do not have a peeler, which is what I would recommend. I'm using a knife here. If you are using a knife, make sure you're cutting away from your body because you never want to, you know, slip and put this blade on yourself. So when you're cutting, just try to literally get the outer portion of the fruit because that's where the oil is. You don't want to get down into the, you know, the innards of the peel because that will actually add a bitterness as well. So if you see, this is just the outside of the skin. What you want to do is just take it in your hand like this and just squeeze the oil over the ice. And you can already smell it right away. You can smell it. You just wipe the outside of the glass with it. Make sure you're getting the oil all over it. Then you just drop it in there. And then here's your Negroni. I mean, here's the drink me you will, O'Connor and Highland style.
Who gets to drink it?
Mark?
No, I couldn't possibly.
Want to take a picture?
Yes, please.
Beautiful drink.
With me? Here. All right. Oh, do I have to drink it on camera?
I think
Wow. All right. That's a good drink. I love Campari, actually.
This is one of my favorite summertime cocktails. I think, honestly, just for everybody who's watching, I'd be, you know, an Aperol Spritz. That's like a drink a lot of people know.
Right.
You know, that is not, it's in the same family as this drink here, which, you know, obviously you're using bubbles with that. It's a little more refreshing, but that's using Aperol, which is like kind of the little brother to Campari. Campari has a way more strength and bitter. The Aperol is a little more, it's just a little less bitter and it adds into that champagne nicely, making it a great summer cocktail. So that's drink number one. I would, you know, love to answer any questions that you guys do have, or, you know, we can move it right along at the same time, whatever you'd like to do.
Any questions?
Bobby, we can go ahead and move to the second drink. Jason does want to know if there's any Star Wars aficionado, like really trivia geeks out there. He's wondering if there were 3 Death Stars.
Yeah, you know,
No
No
idea.
idea.
I would be curious to know that answer. I think maybe we could do a little research during the next drink and we can have some facts like ready to, you know, to hit you
That's a
with.
great plan, Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is the 4th of May, is it not?
It is. And may the 4th be with you as you make this next drink. What's your favorite drink to make, Bobby?
My favorite drink to make, that, I mean, to be honest with you, when we kind of were speaking about this event here, I recommend 2 of my like real kind of favorites. Like I just said, Negroni. I mean, that's the drink that I like to drink. You know, the Last Jedi, which is based on the cocktail, The Last Word. I love the ingredients in this drink. So I think that is another one that I love to just talk about, and maybe like not everybody's familiar with the ingredients. So for me, honestly, my favorite drink to make is the one that you want at that moment. Like, I want to talk to you about it. I want to educate you about it. And, you know, when I see the look on your face that you came and you got the perfect drink that you were looking for that night, that's like what it's about. Like as a bartender, as a mixologist. So yeah, that's what I would, you know, definitely say is my favorite drink to make. I hope that's an acceptable answer.
Before we get started, if I may, just
Please, jump in.
according to Google, via our social media guy, Nick, One Death Star was completely built by the Empire, with the second and third one never reaching full completion, as well as a prototype being in existence. Then there's a lot of words that I don't know that are made up from Star Wars. So Jason, that's your answer. And now, are you ready for the, what are we calling it? The Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
So Jason's kind of technically right. As your Death Star melts into your drink me, if you will,
Yep.
it will become the second and third Death Star.
Yeah, boy, Jason. Yes, this is true. And actually, you know what? You really do raise a point that I didn't really touch on. The point of a sphere of ice in a drink, it's made to make the drink last longer because it's more surface area on the ball, which means it's actually coming into contact with more of the fluid in the glass, but it's a bigger cube, so it doesn't melt as fast. So you're bringing up or you're bringing down the temperature of the drink consistently without having to deal with a bunch of ice that's melting quickly and ruining the drink. So I would definitely recommend when you're drinking something like, you know, the drink be you will, or, you know, a version of that. I think a ball of ice is definitely the way you want to go to enjoy it for a longer period of time. That's what the Death Star in the drink is going to help you with. So with that being said, I think that we can move on to the Last Jedi, which is a wonderful drink. I can't wait to talk to you about it. All right. So for the Last Jedi, we're going to be using these wonderful shakers that were made by Andrea and Radius, because this is a shaken cocktail as opposed to the last one, which is stirred. You know, some differences of shaking compared to stirring. Stirring is going to basically just mix the ingredients, you know, very easily. They don't need to be forced together quite as hard, or you don't need to actually incorporate dilution into the drink. It's just to put them together. When you're shaking a cocktail now, because we're using citrus in this drink, you know, we're using an actual sugar-based ingredient in this drink. This is going to require a vigorous, you know, hard shake to make sure all these ingredients are properly mixed together. And the ice that's in the shaker, it's going to instantly chill the outside of the shaker itself, making, you know, the vigorous shake just dilute the drink to the appropriate level. So that's why we would be shaking it. Anything with citrus, you can generally, by rule of thumb, consider it's going to be a shaken drink. You very rarely are going to mix or stir anything with citrus in it. So for this drink here, we're also going to be using the Tanqueray. Now, this is an ingredient that this is one of the reasons I recommended this drink, because it's not a lot of people know a ton about it. This is called green Chartreuse. Chartreuse is a type of liqueur that has actually been created and made by monks dating back to the 1700s. It's a classic recipe, been unchanged for a long period of time. So it has a lot of history, and you know, it's an essential ingredient in like pre-prohibition, you know, cocktails there. So it adds a wonderful depth of flavor. Now, this drink being the Last Jedi, we are kind of doing a little substitution on the last word drink, which instead of maraschino liqueur, we're using actual maraschino juice. It's going to have a little more sweetness to it, which is kind of making this a little brighter and a little bit, you know, more playful of a summertime cocktail. And it adds a wonderful little pinkness to the drink as well. So I think, you know, you'll like that substitution in the end. And then for the citrus element, I recommend, you know, using an entire lime, which we're just going to squeeze right in there. The measurements, now this is also an equal measurement cocktail, 3/4 for all 4 ingredients, 3/4 of an ounce. So you're going to want to hit 3/4 of an ounce gin, 3/4 green Chartreuse. About, for the sake of this here, we're just going to pour one of these into the shaker with the cherry, or you can save the cherry for the garnish as well, up to you. And then I would recommend squeezing the entire lime juice into the drink. All right. Bro.
Never a perfect process.
All right, so we're going 3/4 of an ounce here. For those of you who don't have the measure, you can basically bet on the half of the Tanqueray. No one ever complained about an extra 1/4 of an ounce. We have the green Chartreuse going in next. Very herbaceous and floral. It's a really, really cool liquor here.
Hey, Bobby, is there a difference between green and yellow chartreuse?
Yes, there is. So difference is going to be pretty massive in terms of, I can't tell you like specifically what ingredients or what. The green Chartreuse, I know it's going to be stronger. It's going to have more of a powerful feel to it. The yellow is a little more of a modifying cocktail. A modifying ingredient that's just a little lighter. It's almost like comparing like lemongrass to like a pine needle or something. Like, the green being much more potent, strong, you're going to feel it in your mouth. The yellow is going to be light and you're barely going to notice it in a cocktail. That would be the biggest difference that I can just say off the top of my head. They're
So
both.
in a pinch, could you substitute one for the other?
I would say yes, just because I like to be creative. I would be careful. You're going to get a different version of the drink, most definitely. So, in this drink right here, if we were to be using yellow Chartreuse as opposed to green, I think that the yellow would have a little bit of a hard time to hold up against the strong flavors of the gin as well. And it might end up just, you're going to taste more of the gin. In this scenario, the green, it kind of helps balance the strongness of the gin because they both have a powerful flavor. And then ultimately, the citrus and the sugar ingredient is what really balances the entire thing out as well. So yeah, they call me a mixologist, but I'm always a fan of being creative, testing new things, seeing what works together. If you just keep kind of that formula, you got to have a liquor, a sugar, and a citrus. If you can balance those 3 ingredients, you can virtually make, a drink out of just about anything. So yeah, give it a shot. Let us know how it goes. I would love to hear
Awesome.
it.
Thanks for letting us know, Bobby.
Of course. So then just to move right along now I'm just going to pour the entire maraschino syrup into the drink. So this is going to act as that sugar ingredient, helping to balance it out. And then I'm just going to squeeze the entire lime juice right into the drink, which this is the citrus element. Really, really important, obviously, for this drink here. What's that, Scott? Yeah. This one's for you.
No, this one's for
Good for Andrea.
Oh, Andrea, okay.
Kyle made the ultimate sacrifice.
All right. So the citrus from a full lime is probably going to give you about 3/4 of an ounce here. So that's what we're looking for. So now we have all the ingredients in the glass, and we're going to want to now add ice and give it a vigorous shake. Got my ice prepped for me. Got a little frozen in the glass for me, but we're good. There we go. All right. Now we just throw the cap on that. Make sure it's nice and tight because we're going to be throwing this over our shoulder. You do not want the back of your kitchen to be covered in the Last Jedi. So make sure you hold the top. When you shake it, I recommend just right over the either right or left shoulder, whatever works for you. And literally, I don't know if you guys can see that, but the tin, it just instantly frosts up. I mean, that's what a vigorous shake is going to do, for the shaker itself. But this just brought this entire temperature of this drink, down to near freezing levels. That's exactly where we want it. So that's a really good shake there. And this glass is going to be a martini or a coupe glass, whatever, works best for you. Which we have a beautiful coupe here. This being served up with no ice in it. This is why you want to put it in a stemmed piece of glassware, keeping it up above the table. It's just a really elegant way of drinking a cocktail. So I do have a built-in shaker on, built-in strainer on the shaker. So I'm just going to go ahead and in this kind of shaker as well, you see the little holes. What that's going to do as well is it allows fine little pieces of ice chips to just, make its way into the drink, kind of, making the texture, the flavor, the feel of the drink just cold, refreshing. That's what we're really looking for. So lastly, I would say if you do have that one cherry left, just go ahead and drop yourself a little treat right in the bottom. So when you are finished with this drink here, you'll have a maraschino cherry to, really kind of just treat yourself with at the end and, finish an excellent cocktail that's going to be refreshing. And I'm sure you're all going to look forward to it. So I look forward to hearing what you think. Who's drinking this one?
Me.
Here we are.
All right.
Andrea.
Thank you.
Cheers. Absolutely.
Bobby, this is proving to be very popular with the group.
Really good. Say I've never been to a class like this or had any exposure to this, so it's been super informative.
Oh,
And let's see, drinks are delicious. So
Amazing.
yeah,
I'm
thank
so
you.
happy you like it. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, I mean, I hope that was helpful for you all. Honestly, like if we're gonna take a little away from this, what I would want to leave you with is, play with it, have fun, test. Citrus, sugar, main liquor. You can make drinks out of anything. So it's all about a little creativity, and we're all having a little bit of fun. So thank you guys so much for having me, and I'll let you, Kyle and Mark jump back up here and
Mark, why
take
don't
it
you
over.
join? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the cocktail. Once again, thank you so much, Andrea, for sponsoring this beautiful event. And we just wanted to ask if you guys had any questions.
Andrea, which one did you make?
Well, I have the Last Jedi. It's fantastic. So,
Very nice.
very good.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
And no questions? It's Death Star quiet up there? Okay. Probably the last thing we'd like to say, not the last one, we have to thank Bobby.
Yeah.
He's a great member of our team who we basically strong-armed into doing this. We gave him no choice, and he proved to be really great, and we really appreciate it. And so we were very happy to have you here. One last thing. So this is virtual. The weather's getting warmer. People are getting vaccinated. So we will be having more events, but we're going to start transitioning to live events, socially distanced, responsible events. But keep an eye out. So you'll be getting, newsletters, emails about some upcoming events.
Yeah, we have a yoga event at Peters Park next May 20th.
May 20th, there's a barbecue coming. So you will be seeing more of us. You might actually see us in person, whether you like it or not. Sonia, as our fabulous host, is there anything else we need to do, or are we?
Or is it my time to drink?
Or is it our time to drink?
I
Yeah.
think you guys just need to continue to be charming, so I'm not drinking this alone.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Bobby. Again, it was really
I'm
great.
glad you liked it.
Thank you.
And if anyone wants to stay on and unmute themselves, we're more than happy to just have a little cocktail hour with everyone chatting.
And if you don't, thank you again.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I can see.
I'm bending down so I can see people.
It looks really great in the spotlight, Mark.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Well, that's
Great
enough.
event, guys. Thank you so much.
It was our pleasure. Wait, who's talking? Becca.
That's me, Becca.
That's Becca, who, by the way, was the person I called out who had a fabulous experience with Andrea as her
I
mortgage.
did. Andrea is amazing. I can give a personal testimony.
Yeah.
Becca, let us see your view. Show us the water.
Well, I'm at Aaron's place right now, so that you can kind of see it on the back right there.
He has better view. No offense.
He does. He does have a better view.
The Mark helped me pick it out.
All right, folks. Well, thank you again. I hope you all enjoyed it and have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Salud.
Bye, Will.
Will, did you enjoy the cocktail?
Here.
Why, you should have joined, huh?
Boo.
I'll join from here.
See you guys.
Will, Prasan's gonna have to